Hey guys, the goal of this video is for you guys to learn how to use Git, how to have a good understanding of all the fundamental commands you need to know to start working professionally as a software engineer, and also understand the higher level of the concepts behind Git and what is Git at a higher level. What is Git? Git was invented by Linus Torvalds, the same guy behind Linux, and pretty much he had trouble with the current version control systems for the times, and he decided to go ahead and create Git. And it turns out it was pretty successful. Most companies started adopting it, and now it's kind of the default option for version control. You pretty much have to learn it before you start working at any software company today. So let's talk about three concepts in Git that are pretty important. The first one is branches. So think of branches as things that stem from the trunk, and a branch is sort of a group of changes that you're making, and eventually you want to combine those changes into the main trunk. But you separate from the main trunk, work on your own stuff, and then combine back into the master branch or the trunk, the main kind of line of code. So the next concept is commits. Commit is an individual change. Think of it as a time when a developer thinks, I've done enough work, I made some progress, I want to save my changes and make sure if my computer shuts down or runs into an error and restarts, I want to still have my changes available for me. So it's kind of a point in time when you hit save in let's say in a Word document. You usually save it before often, so that when if the computer crashes, you don't lose all the progress you've had. Commits are referenced with hashes, and a hash looks like this. So pretty much if you want to go back to a specific commit, you do git checkout and then the hash of the commit. But we'll get into that in a second. So the next concept is a repository. So a repository, think of it as the place online where the group of changes are going to live. Like it's kind of the place that has all the commits, all the branches, everything all together online in some place. Okay, so let's start with the commands you guys are going to learn. Let's do them one by one. Here's the full list of commands. We'll be going through each one of them. The first thing I'm gonna do when I have just an empty folder, I'm gonna do git init, which initializes the repository within this folder. Now you can see there's a .git folder that contains all of the Git information. Then after that, let's go ahead and create our first commit. I'll just create a file. It's an empty file, it doesn't have anything, it's just a test.txt. If I type out git status, I see that we have an untracked file. What that means is that there's a new file, and Git is kind of asking us what do you want to do with it. It's suggesting git add file. So let's go ahead and try that. And then this file path. Now let's type git status again. So now we see it's green. It says changes to be committed. It has our new file, test.txt. So let's go ahead and commit it. My first commit. Keep in mind we're in the master branch. So there you go. We have our first commit done. It's on master, has this hash, one file has changed, 0 insertions, 0 deletions, because it doesn't really have any line changes, just one file. So one thing I usually do is to see which branches are in my local repository. I do git branch. Now we see we only have master, but we go ahead and do git branch feature 1. This creates a new branch. We type git branch again. This shows us that our new feature 1 is created already. So let's go ahead and so right now we are on master, and the way you get to feature 1 after you've created it is by doing a checkout. So let's do git checkout feature 1. It says now we have switched to branch feature 1. So far we have 2 branches. We have 1 commit in master, and since we created the branch after doing the commit, that commit is going to also have feature 1 is also going to have the first commit. And how do you check that? How do you verify what's the commit history, or what's the history in Git? You do git log. So git log is going to show you all the previous commits, the most recent ones, and we see here that I created my first commit. So over here we can, let's edit this file. Created feature 1. This is just fake. I didn't create anything about it. So I'll just, now it contains this text. Created feature 1. Let's assume that's a bunch of code. Me hours to finish it. And I'm done, right? So now we see git status. We have this, it shows up as modified. We're gonna do something pretty similar where we do git add and then this file. And then we check git status again, and we see that it's added. I want to do something else here before committing, because if we commit, same thing's gonna happen where we have a new commit, but now it's gonna be in our feature 1 branch. What happens if I edit this file again? Added something new. And let's save it. Let's see what happens. So as you can see, you have this added already. And what's in here are the newest changes that I haven't added yet. This is everything. This is the new changes that I made after adding the file to be committed, kind of like in this staging spot. So if we commit right now, we're not going to have my latest changes. So I want to have everything. So let's go ahead and add it again. Test.txt. And let's see what happens when I do git status. I see only 1 green file. So that's good. That's what I want. Finished feature 1. So now we're in this branch, this feature 1 branch. But let's say everything looks good. We want to have this feature in master, so everybody liked it. So let's go ahead and go back to master. We're back, and as you can see here, we only have my first commit. We don't have the new one, which is feature 1 that we did. Finish feature 1. It has this hash. So we want to add it. What do we do if we want to add that feature into master? We do what's called a merge. So when you do a merge, it combines the commits from a branch into a master. And there are several ways of doing it, but for now, I think the main important thing is to know that all of the commits from the feature branch are going to come into master. Cool. So now we have it merged. We see three new lines, which are the ones that I typed out. 1 file change, test.txt. So now if I see what's in this file, I'm gonna see that I have created feature 1, and then the thing that I added towards the end. Okay, so now let's talk about something called git reset. So I'm going to delete feature 1, the branch is already in master. We don't need it anymore. Let's create a feature 2. I created it, then I check out feature 2. To have my test.txt. Let's go ahead and edit it. Created feature 2. Okay, assume that's a great feature, even though it's just a 1-line change. But so normally I would add that file to staging, to like this staging state. And if I see status, I see green. But let's say I don't really like that change. Like I want to do something else. What do I do? So you do something called git reset, and then the name of the file, and Git's gonna forget that you ever did that git add. So another thing you could do is just type git reset without a file name, and it's gonna reset all the files, no matter, like, everything that's staged, that's been added before is gonna be reset. But for now I just pass the file name. Now I wanna edit it again, figure 2, but with something else, with X. Okay, so now I'll add it again. I think this looks pretty similar to just doing git add again. Oh, sorry. That's a shortcut that I have, but it's the same thing. Git reset is more useful when you have more files. So if I create another one, test2.txt, and let's say I want to add this one too, but then, you know what? I really don't want to modify test anymore. I'm just going to do git reset. The name of test.txt. I do git status. Then I see only my new 2 file ready to be committed. And this one is just modified. It's not being added to anything. It's just there. So I'll just commit that test2 file. Test2 file. This is the actual feature 2. The commit is created. I go back to master. Let's just see what's in master. So I see test.txt, and then I'm gonna merge that feature too. Now after that, I see test and test2. Another thing I want to show you guys is how to clone a repo. So cloning a repo is kind of, you could call it download a repository. So the company you work for is going to have a repository somewhere. You could give GitHub. I think most likely it's going to be GitHub. But normally you'd find the URL of it. You'd copy the link. Then you go git clone this, and you add .git at the end. I don't think you need to, but I usually do it because that's what that was a way to do it a while ago. You clone it. So this is cloning the entire set of the entire code base for Express.js. This is a backend framework to create endpoints and things like that in JavaScript. But now we can see we have the Express.js here locally. I want to cd into this repo, and I have everything to start setting up this repository. I'm gonna do the npm install. I'm gonna have to do a bunch of things before I can start working. But at least I have all the files, and I can start reading through the README and kind of do the local setup and all that. But yeah, in terms of Git, you only need to know git clone. Then after that, it's gonna be, depending on the repository, you're gonna have to do some kind of local setup and run a few other things. The next thing I want to show you guys is how you would have somebody review your changes. So let's see. Let's create another feature. Git branch feature 3. Check out feature 3. And then, okay, so now we create another test3.txt. Beam test3. We're gonna edit this test3. Please somebody view my changes. Here they go. And so this is all kind of not real code. I'm just using plain English, but feature 3 completed. Usually you would push a bunch of file changes, depending on what language you're using and everything. But so actually, I went through that pretty quickly, but I made the commit. I'm pushing to origin feature 3. What's origin and what's push? So git push is how you send your local branch to some remote place. And in this case, GitHub. Let's find out what origin is. So if you do git remote -v, you're gonna see what remote connections or remote URLs you have set up. So you see origin is this URL, origin is this URL, both for fetching and pushing. Fetching means you're gonna download your new code from here, and pushing means you're gonna push what we just did to this URL. So with git push, we want to upload our changes to the origin URL, and what we want to push there, we want to push our branch feature 3. So once we are done with that and everything is successful, it says new branch feature 3 in this repository, in this location. So we go there, we see this notification thing, and it's asking us to compare and make a pull request. So you click here, and then do overview. This is a new feature. Please review and let me know what you think. And yeah, I mean, normally you'd have a bunch of JavaScript, Rails, Java, whatever it is. You open the pull request. It's available for everybody to see it in your organization's GitHub repository. And yeah, this is how you get any change into the public. So once it's approved by somebody, depending on the process within your company, you can merge it. Normally, companies require an approval before you can merge from somebody else. So yeah, you'll wait for a little bit, somebody will review it, and then you're good to go.